Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world. On Newsfeed today. Idiots on the internet spread fake news about black people being immune from COVID-19. We set them straight. Ezra shows us her coronavirus-affected commute in an eerily quiet Istanbul. And a high school choir delivers a big performance thanks to the internet. And top of our newsfeed, lies and misinformation about COVID-19 has led to the spread of a myth that black people cannot be affected by the virus. And this myth has been continuing to be shared on social media despite people being confronted with evidence. Adama explains.
Are black people immune to the coronavirus? Sure, until now there have been fewer cases of the illness in Africa and the Caribbean. That's given rise to the misplaced belief that people of African descent cannot catch COVID-19. That myth was shattered last week when it was confirmed that actor Idris Elba and NBA player Rudy Gobert had both contracted it. But still, the bizarre claim persists. This Facebook post, which claims that a Cameroonian man in China was cured of coronavirus because he has black skin, has been shared thousands of times. Some have suggested that the higher concentrations of melanin in black people somehow acts as a shield against the virus. While memes offer temporary comic relief, misinformation can create a precedent that limits our understanding of how to tackle the virus.
Memes are, they're very short. You get a kind of burst of information and people tend to believe it. I think people tend to believe the images, they tend to believe the brief messages. And if it's written in a way that seems authoritative, people will believe that because not a lot of folk have access to medical textbooks or, sometimes the jargon that's used by medical professionals can be quite intimidating for those who don't understand it. And so what I've done, along with a number of my friends who are academics, who are doctors, who are public health specialists, we've been able to use our platform on social media to be able to talk to people, to inform them.
Pseudoscientific ideas surrounding black people and immunity have a much darker history.
Part of that, especially in the United States, and the Caribbean, is because there had been a belief that went back to the United States' colonial time, where certain diseases, like yellow fever or malaria or smallpox, a lot of Europeans believed that black people somehow had an immunity to these diseases. And so those ideas all the way from the 1700s have filtered down to the 21st century, unfortunately. And so black people seem to have in the minds of some the ability to either be highly contagious or immune. In my book, I wrote called Medical Bondage, and it's race, gender, and the origins of American gynecology. I call this concept the medical superbody, that on one hand, black people in particular are seen as very strong and hardy and almost immune to illnesses. And yet at the same time, the actual practice of treating black folk by white doctors throughout history has shown that in fact, they're just like any other human being. I see the implications of the kind of anti-blackness throughout history. It's also stating that many times African American communities or African communities in the Caribbean or in Africa, black people tended to have lower incomes. They tended to live in areas that were, polluted. They tended to not have the same services. And unfortunately, some of those social determinants have continued into the 21st century. And so I think what's most important on different fronts is that our politicians continue to push for policies where equity and access is really important.
To be clear, this virus does not discriminate based on your skin color. Everyone can get it.
Okay, let's take a look at some other COVID-19 related stories that you might have missed. Well, hackers tried to hack the World Health Organization earlier this month. Their attack was unsuccessful, thankfully. The WHO warned that criminals are pretending to be the agency and have been attempting to steal money and personal details of people who respond to their phishing emails. Now, Amazon Prime is making some kids' TV shows free to all during the global lockdown, and I'm pleased to tell you that the classic Arthur is included in the freebie set, so kids and big kids like me can binge on it as long as we like, as long as COVID-19 is with us. Now, for those of us still going to the office, the commute is like nothing we've seen before. Mass transit systems are either closed, running a reduced service, or empty, except in London, where, despite warnings, people are still carrying on as if nothing has changed. Well, here in Istanbul, the majority of people are listening to the advice of evde kal, stay home. But, like I said, some of us still need to come in. So our producer, Ezra, filmed her journey this morning.
It's cold. So I've been under self-quarantine for about 2 weeks now, and I haven't left the house, and I have to go to work today. And since the last time I've left this house, it's windy. Since the last time I've had to leave the house, the Turkish government has placed some measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Schools have been shut, stores have been closed, people are either working less hours or working from home. And the government is also urging all citizens to make sure that they stay home and don't leave the house. And I'm out now and I'm curious to know if a city of 15 million people, are Istanbulites actually listening and staying home? So the playground has been cordoned off. And usually at this time of the day, students from that school would be here. There'd be elderly sitting on the benches, or parents, people from the neighborhood. And today, not a single person in sight. Beautiful Istanbul. So this is one of the major bus stops. And usually there are people lining up here and here. There'd be multiple buses back to back, and today, nothing. Usually at this time of the day, there'd be hundreds of people walking past me, but today, only a select few. And now let's check the ferry, which is usually packed. And again, usually here, be every seat full and people standing. And this is what it's like today. Günaydın. This bus at this time of the day, it would be packed with people sitting next to me, behind me, around me, and there'll even be people standing. But today I'm the only person on the bus, and usually on a bus where people are packed like sardines, this is quite a sight. Merhaba. Normalde otobüsler bu kadar boş mu?
Yani bu virüsten dolayı bu şekilde boş. Genellikle boş gidip geliyoruz. Korkuyoruz ve dikkatli olmak lazım. İnan ben şu kutsal bir görevdir. Bu görev olmasaydı, ben bu görevi yapmamış olsaydım evden dışarı çıkmazdım.
Merhaba.
Merhabalar.
My temperature is getting checked before I enter the building. And good. Tamam? Okay, so I've washed my hands thoroughly, I've disinfected my desk, and I'm ready for work.
Yeah, disinfected her desks and all our desks as well. Thank you, Esra. Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, scientists in Europe have definitively proven that electric cars are better for the environment than petrol cars. Climate change conspiracy theorists have attempted to argue that electric vehicles are no better than petrol cars because of the energy expended to produce electricity to power them. Researchers from the University of Nijmegen in the Netherlands and Exeter in Cambridge in the UK found that EVs generate less CO2 waste than fossil fuel-powered cars. The benefit was reversed in heavily coal-dependent countries. And speaking of coal, Bloomberg are reporting that it is now the most expensive fossil fuel. The collapse in the oil price have made it cheaper than dirty coal for the first time in a long time. Some are hopeful this will incentivize countries away from the use of the fuel, which is the most CO2 emitting of all fossil fuel sources. And these are koalas being returned to the Blue Mountains in Australia. They were rescued from the region during the worst wildfires in modern memory, which raged across the country since November of 2019. Well, the marriage industry is one of many taking hits due to the pandemic. Here's a look at how some people are adapting to not having that expensive wedding ceremony.
With mass gatherings banned and venues shut, having a big wedding during the coronavirus pandemic ain't easy. This British couple invited 200 family and friends from all over the world.
One of my best friends was flying from Australia to be bridesmaid, so that was cancelled. It was a couple of days ago, and basically it's just horrendous.
Italy is currently the epicenter of the outbreak, and Rome has long been a wedding venue of choice for many. But that had to change with everything under lockdown. And it's not just the bride and groom who are dealing with the disappointment.
First of all, the atmosphere changes. Everything changes. Like, for example, my niece asked me, "No kisses and hugs, please." The spirit of a wedding changes. Obviously, we prefer it to be a lot more intimate, but we had to choose the people who could be present a lot more carefully.
Sophia is from Argentina. She and her husband decided to go all digital. They video called friends and family and live streamed the ceremony.
We decided to have a live wedding so that everyone could see it wherever they were through Instagram and Facebook. And from home, each one of us respecting the quarantine, we were going to receive the blessings from our friends and our community.
And this Israeli couple said "I do" in a near-empty venue, while their family and friends abroad watched the ceremony online.
It's different than what we had imagined, but it's perfect, I think.
It's a different and unique way to get married, but we are getting used to the situation.
While in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, this Palestinian couple decided to use their wedding to spread awareness.
We didn't want to delay the wedding. We wanted it today, whatever the situation is. We chose to do something that is not traditional, and it's also a form of awareness to society.
For some, the dream wedding is no longer possible. But the good news is that love will always find a way, even in a time of corona.
And last up, some viral video out of California of a school choir making sure the song is still sung. That'll do from the Newsfeed team. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and follow me on Twitter. Wash your hands, stay at home. See you tomorrow.